Is there. Gillian, a very good morning to you. What's the latest? Gillian, can you hear us? It's Blaine. Just tell us what's the latest with regards to the blaze. So that we're having a bit of an issue connecting with Gillian Pillay. Let's try one more time. Gillian Pillay, it's Blaine Herman. Tell us what's the latest with regard to the blaze at the Johannesburg CBD. Okay, well, as we tried to establish contact, we heard from the Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba giving us a bit of an update. We know that 3 lives were lost yesterday. Firefighters, some are in hospital. I understand Gillian Pillay is back on the line. Gillian, a very good morning to you. Can you hear me? What's the latest?
A very good morning to you, Blaine. Yes, as you were saying there, we have just a short while ago we had a briefing with Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba as well as the MEC of Human Settlements, them just giving us an update on the situation. But in the pictures that you can now see on screen, Blaine, it seems that the real flames that was evident about a half an hour to 15 minutes ago was no longer there. But what we're finding is that this fire keeps on moving like in a 360. If it's doused or if there is heavy smoke on this side, on the opposite side there is still flames. Adjacent to that, to the flames on the side that we're showing you now is a student accommodation building, and we understand that the students now have been evacuated for safety measures. As I said earlier, the roads around this particular building has been cordoned off. We're just seeing a firefighter now being lifted on a crane there, taking water to just some of those very dense areas. We understand that the difficulty in dousing this particular fire could, one, be that it's being fanned by winds, and the higher the building, the winds are quite strong up there. But also, this is government buildings, Blaine, and you can understand that quite a lot of paper, and that could possibly be one of the factors that's making it increasingly difficult for firefighters to particularly douse this fire. What we do know is that they are going into the building in teams of 10 firefighters at a time for a period of 30 minutes. I'm sure it's around safety conditions. They do not want a situation like they saw yesterday where 3 lives were lost, to curb against fatigue, smoke inhalation. We know that these are the concerns that the mayor as well as the Human Settlement MEC had raised. We had asked them around who should be held accountable. We asked them around questions about the conditions that firefighters are having to work under. Some talking about socks that they have to buy. Low water pressure could have been one of the reasons why it was so difficult to extinguish this fire, Blaine. But as you can see, it is still an ongoing battle. Smoke still coming from large parts of the building, and they're really having difficulty since 4 a.m. this morning, we understand, Blaine, to douse this particular fire that started yesterday. Yeah,
firefighters have their hands full, no doubt, Gillian. Besides fighting this blaze, they're fighting the elements such as wind, as you pointed out. In terms of your assessment, what you can see, how fast is this fire spreading?
It's not a matter really that it's fast spreading. I think on the floors from 10th floor, they have since this morning, because that's where the fire ignited in the early hours of this morning. That is the difficulty they've had in dousing the fire from the 10th floor. And what we are being told is that firefighters are on the 9th and 10th floor, and they're trying to contain it from that level. But it seems increasingly difficult around conditions like, we know it's a government building, Blaine, and we know what are in government buildings. Every time when windows crack up there, we see a lot of paper being strewn out of those windows. And that could be, there could be a lot of other things in those buildings that could be fueling the fire, just making it increasingly difficult. maybe it's been contained in vents even, and that is what is the problem right now. And I think they don't really want to get firefighters beyond a certain point where there's a situation like they saw yesterday, where firefighters lost their lives, Blaine.
Gillian, there were questions about whether a high-pressure hose line was used yesterday. That was some of the issues that emerged. What do we know at this stage?
Well, at this stage, no one is really giving us a lot about who should be held accountable for the situation as it is, around the conditions, working conditions, around what went wrong. They're telling us it's early days, that they can't even answer those questions around investigations, as they'll first have to wait for this fire to be doused for them to assess and give some sort of idea about, what could be the reasons around the situation as it stands. We do know that one of the questions that we asked was, could we possibly see this building disintegrating? And that is what we will only be able to get a sense of once this fire has been doused. So a lot of the questions that we are having now, Blaine, it will only materialize once the fire has been doused, around the safety of the building. Will it disintegrate? Low pressure hoses being used, allegations or claims around low pressure hoses being used yesterday, that kind of thing will only transpire once the fire has been contained.
Gillian, stay safe. We'll catch up with you a little later on. Gillian Pillay live for us in Johannesburg. Meanwhile, the family of one of the deceased firefighters has taken to social media to express their sadness. 3 firefighters, as you heard, died yesterday while fighting blaze in a high-rise building in the inner city.